today I want to talk about questioning authority. First of all, I am naturally someone who respects authority. So I don't consider myself a rebel, but I do believe it's very important to question authority. When I say that phrase, some of you are probably cringing. You might be the type of person, we have some in our family, who hate confrontation. Actually, it's been estimated that 70% of the population falls into that category. So questioning and challenging the status quo is not something that's comfortable for them. Otherwise, you may be someone who does like to question. Either way, this is such an important time to put out the challenge, to question things and to dig deeper and do your research and do your homework for the sake of liberty and the sake of accountability that liberty is dependent upon. Benjamin Franklin said that it is the chief duty of citizens to question authority. Our founders built into the Constitution accountability for the government so that it would be limited and so that its chief role would be to protect our individual liberties and freedoms. That's a big why we should question authority. Now, how do we question authority? There's a lot of ways. The words of authority figures, if you will, come down to us often, obviously through laws and expressed that way, but through the media, right? Through a lot of the things that we read or we watch. And so I would encourage you to, if you're not already doing this, ask questions. Just because someone has a particular position of authority, we should still question their premise, their presuppositions. Where are they coming from, first of all, in what they are communicating? Do they have a personal agenda? Is there anything we can find out about that as we research that person or that position, whoever it's held by, what its purpose is and how it could come to impact our lives in a way that is not really in keeping with freedom? So ask those questions, get to the source, figure out what is the source and what is the backup information that confirms what they're saying. Can it be corroborated? And in some instances, is there peer review? Are others that we respect or admire that are knowledgeable, have they come to some of the same conclusions? And never underestimate the power of someone that's in an authority role or seen as someone who can speak into a situation when they're just talking about something that hasn't been confirmed yet. They're just making a suggestion. Because of their position, though, that information can catch on like wildfire, and overnight it can become fact in people's minds. So we have to step back, I think, and I would encourage to step back and ask yourself, has this really been confirmed? Or is this just something that's floating around and it's a possibility? So those are just a few of the many ways that we can challenge and question those that are delivering information to us during this time, especially during this time. And then the other thing to challenge is what's being done that's infringing upon our liberties. We've all been talking about this probably ad nauseum. I think maybe many of us are weary of the conversation surrounding the lockdown, surrounding the openings in the States, whether people can go back to doing and conducting their business or not, whether they can open their restaurant and what that looks like. And we are seeing people challenging. They've questioned the authority of the officials in their state to say that they can't reopen their business or their restaurant. And in some cases, they have gone ahead and they have acted in opposition to what they believe is an infringement on their constitutional rights, particularly when the data is not bearing out what was originally projected in terms of this pandemic. So questioning is important, and I believe that it's only weak leaders and insecure leaders that are afraid of being questioned. We should never, as citizens, be intimidated from questioning. I mean, if we want to look at an extreme contrast, what did dictators do? Terrible dictators, even just in the 19th century, they locked up the thinkers. They locked up the intellectuals because they saw them as a threat to the control that they could hold sway over the masses, if you will, people that didn't know as much or didn't research or didn't question. So it's such an important and integral part of freedom to question I would love to hear what questions you have right now so that we can share and dialogue with each other. So please do share those below. Thanks.